Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I'm the owner of Leavenly.com and the founder of the Sourdough Mamas movement. Today I'm going to be showing you all the tools that I use in my kitchen to make amazing sourdough bread, and also the tools that I used when I first started out on my sourdough journey. And the purpose of this is just to let you know that you don't need to start out with the most expensive, most amazing products. Okay, you can work up to that. So if you're just starting out, you can definitely start out just with the kind of the cheapest stuff you can get, and then work your way up the more that you bake, okay? And accumulate those really great products. If you like this video, definitely subscribe, and all the links to the products are going to be down below in the description. And just as a side note, I do partner with these companies like Challenger Breadware, like Wire Monkey Shop, some links on Amazon, and that is so that a little bit of the purchase that you make through those links will come back to Leavenly and help me create more free content just like this for you. So that's just a little disclaimer I wanted to get out of the way. So let's get started. First, I'm going to show you guys my starter jars. So when I started out, I just use a basic mason jar. This is a 16 ounce with the screw on top, and that's what I always use for my starter jars. Now, what I use are the Challenger starter jars. They just came out with these. They're really great, and they have a wooden lid on it with a gasket, so it keeps out any yuckies, but also you can seal it and your starter can still expand and contract. There's a little bit of a hole in that seal, so it allows for that. So these are really, really cool. I love them. The next thing is my kitchen scale, and this has been around since my beginning. I bought this 4 or 5 years ago and I still use the exact same scale. And what I love about it is that it weighs in grams, it's very accurate, and also it's very narrow, so I store it upright beside my dinner plates and my counter and my cupboards, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. So that's why I really like that. I haven't changed it at all. So I love it. The next thing is a bench knife and a dough scraper. So one of my Bannetons came with this little bendy plastic white dough scraper and why can't I think of the word, bench knife. And this is perfect if you're just starting out, okay? It's got both. So you can scrape your dough in the bowl because it's got the curved side, and it's also got the straight side so you can cut your dough with it as well. So if you have Bannetons that came with one of these, that's perfect. I bought this little duo when I was first starting out 4 or 5 years ago, and I love these. So this is like a stainless steel bench knife, and it's got little markings on there in measurements. The plastic handle, it's really solid. I've never upgraded because this thing is amazing. I love it. And it's got the beveled edge too, so it's a little bit sharp. So when you're cutting the dough, it chops right through it. This is the dough scraper that it came with. It's got some conversions on the front, and that's helpful, and I use that to scrape the dough out of my bowl. So that was sold as a duo on Amazon, and I love it. The classic beginner's tool, I'm going to come around and show you this a little bit closer up, is the Lame on the popsicle stick. So I'll let my camera focus so you can see that. It is literally a razor blade on a stick. Why aren't I focusing? One sec. There we go. It's literally a razor blade on a wooden stick, and it works, you know, it's perfect. You can slash dough with this. And then what I upgraded to after that was this Lame that I bought from just off Amazon, and it has the long handle. I'm trying to focus my camera here, sorry. It has the long handle and the razor blade on the end. I'm not known for being very technical, I apologize. Anyway, I think you can get the gist. It's a wooden handle, it's the long bread lame, and you can slice dough with that. But what I really love and what I use right now are the UFO lames from Wire Monkey. So mine is in this cute little leather holster that is handmade in the USA. And this is the lame itself. I have the Bread Journey lame. And what I love is that your hand is really close to that razor blade. And then as you're scoring, you get more precision. You can be a lot more precise. And also what I love, because I have 3 young kids, is that you just twist it open and the razor blade tucks neatly inside. Just like that, and you can twist it tighter, and then it's sealed in there. So if little hands go digging through drawers, they're not gonna cut their hands on a sharp razor blade. So that's key. Wire Monkey also makes this amazing arc lame. This is their newest product. It's an arc, as you can see. It's like a quarter circle shape. And I really like to score circular shapes with the Arc Lame. So that's their new product. It has this nice base that you can store the blade in, just like that, and a little monkey on the bottom. So what's not to love? I love this thing. So quite an advance from where I first started. But again, if you're using the popsicle stick razor blade trick, it works like a charm too. So just work your way up the product ladder. The next thing I use is these plastic shower caps from Amazon. They're not exactly shower caps, it's just what I call them, but they're food covers. The reason I like them is because this is my mixing bowl and it's massive. And these fit over my mixing bowl just like this, so that as my dough is proofing, it covers it. So it keeps any yuckies out, keeps the heat in, keeps the moisture in, and prevents the skin from forming on the dough. What I've upgraded to very recently are these Challenger Breadware dough covers. This might kind of seem like a commercial for Challenger, but it's really not. They just have amazing products, and they're an amazing American-owned business. Jim Challenger is a good friend on Instagram that we follow each other. I interviewed him in the Breaking Bread series, and he just keeps coming out with these amazing products. So these are very cool. They're biodegradable. They're stretchy, just like the shower cap, and they would go right over your Banneton, just like this, when your dough is proofing. And it keeps, again, the yuckies out, it keeps the skin from forming on top, but it's breathable enough for the dough. So those are amazing, and I love those. And the next thing we can talk about, since I just had it in my hand, are Bannetons. So if you don't have a Banneton, don't stress. You can use a bowl or a basket. I'm gonna have a link below to one of my other YouTube videos all about Bannetons. You could talk, who knew you could talk for 30, 40 minutes about Bannetons, but it's possible because there's actually a lot to cover. But just to show you, this is the one that I used when I first started out. This is just a little kind of bendy plastic wicker basket for proofing. I would just line it with a towel and proof my bread in there. And then as the more that I baked and the more familiar I got with my dough, I graduated myself to the wooden Bannetons, or the brat form is what they're actually technically called. This one is for batards, this one's for boules, and I have 3 of each. So they're not cheap, they're also not super expensive, so check it out if you're interested in that. The links to those are below. And then I just want to touch on my bowl again, because this guy's kind of my ride or die. I've had him for 4 or 5 years as well, and I'm not sure I'll ever upgrade unless I lose it or it breaks. But it's just a thin stainless bowl, very wide, and it makes folding really easy because you're not shoving your fingers in between the bowl and the dough. You have lots of space to kind of get your fingers under there and lift up. So I love this guy, and he was pretty cheap too. So then the next product that I absolutely love are these amazing Challenger oven gloves. So you have so much dexterity when you're wearing these. It makes it really easy to reach in, to grab your bread, to adjust the parchment paper, to put the lid on. So these are amazing. You can't feel a thing through them, and they're way better than those big cumbersome oven mitts that we all know and we all have in our homes. So this is a new product by Challenger, and I absolutely love these. Highly recommended. But of course, if you're just starting out, use your other oven mitts because they work too. You know, I used those up until just recently. And then finally, the last product is your Dutch oven. So this is the Lodge Combo Cooker. You guys can see that. It's basically 2 pans in one. So it's got the more shallow base, or the lid. Some people use this as the lid, but I tend to use, I use this as the base and this one as the lid. This one's just more shallow. It's a little bit wider, less risk of burning your hands when you're reaching in to grab your dough. So that's why I put the big one on top. Some people tend to use the bigger, heavier one on bottom. But the nice thing about this is you can use it as separate cast iron pans, which I do all the time. It's not exactly clean because I like to fry my fish in this when we make fish for dinner. So I use them all the time still. I don't use them for bread anymore because I graduated to the Challenger bread pan, which I have right here. And this thing is a thing of beauty. It is solid cast iron with a beautiful design on top, this nice domed lid, which keeps the heat really, really close to your bread and allows for that blistery crust. And this is the base right here. So that would go right in your oven. You preheat these, take the lid off, put your bread on there, and then you just reach in. The handles on top are super convenient, and put the lid on, and then bake your bread. And then when it comes time to take the lid off, you just grab it by these top handles and lift it off. So I absolutely love that pan. And I use the bottom pan also for other things for cooking as well. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. It's kind of a lot in a short little video, but I just wanted to quickly talk about all the things that I use. And of course, there's some other things that I didn't mention: parchment paper, my flour sifter that I use to shake flour onto the counter, things like that. You can just find whichever ones appeal to you, whichever ones you like. But these are just the products that I wanted to show you kind of where I started and then where I am now. So if you enjoyed this video, definitely like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment below as well if you enjoyed it. And the links to all these products are there. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Happy baking!